Hello,
Good morning, Mr. Niehaus.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And is my picture visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going to go out. I've got one or two things to do, and then I'll join at 9. Yeah?
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Morning. I just want to check. Can someone speak to me that I can hear if I can hear my Bluetooth, if my Bluetooth is working?
Morning. Honorable Nihas, we can hear you very loud and clear.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I can hear you too. Appreciate it for the check. Thank you.
I think it's 9 o'clock. Is Honorable Kikawa here?
Good morning, Chair. He hasn't joined yet, Chair.
He hasn't joined.
No, Chair, not yet.
Okay. But now it's 9 o'clock. Can we start the meeting?
Yes, you can start the meeting. Yes, you can. Okay, Chair. I will fly to the agenda.
Okay. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, ministers.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, ministers present, who are members of the National Conventional Arms Control Committee. Good morning to our committee support staff, both committees, support staff. Let me welcome all of you here. Paula,
Recording
myself,
in progress.
The co-chairperson of the committee. Ministers or members of the committee, this is our first meeting with the National Conventional Arms Control Committee. We really appreciate the presence of your presence here, and we are looking forward to engage on issues which have been the concern of the committee. And let me officially declare this meeting open. And we have our agenda, which is flagged here, which is the opening and welcome, apologies, third point, briefings, update, and consideration of the minutes and closure. Can we move to the next point?
Are you not joining the meeting?
Hello? Secretary? Okay.
Sorry, Chair, for that. Sorry, Chair, for that. I was speaking to Mr. Mashaba, the Secretariat from the DCAC, because I see he hasn't joined yet. So he was telling me that he's trying to join, Chair.
Oh, okay.
Okay, in terms of apologies, Chair, I only have one apology from the minister who has a family emergency to attend to.
The minister who? Which minister?
The Minister of Defense, Ms. Mutshekga.
Oh, Minister of Defense. Okay, thanks. There you are, honorable members. Okay, let's move to the next point, which is the briefing by the National Conventional Arms Control. But before that, members, I think let's introduce members of the committee. Let me start with myself.
Chair, sorry, you flighted the agenda, but you did not ask for the agenda to be adopted. So can we go through the process of adoption of the agenda and then move on with what you're doing now, please?
My apology, Honorable Nihas. Yeah, sorry about that. Can we move for the adoption of the agenda, members?
Chair, I move for the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Can we have the second of the adoption of the agenda?
Chair, I'll move. I'll second it.
Who is speaking?
Chris Houghton.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Honorable Hardin. The agenda is adopted. Let's introduce ourselves. I was about to start the introduction of members, starting with myself. I'm Piro Anupala, the co-chair of the committee. Anyone introduce themselves. Chris, let's start with you. Anyone introduce yourself?
Let me start. Seems that Mr. Hutton's mic is muted. My name is Carl Niehaus, and I represent the Economic Freedom Fighters on this Joint Standing Committee on Defense. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Niehaus. Anyone on the platform?
My name is Windy Blakis. I'm representing the ANC.
Thank you, Honorable Blakis. The next one.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Peter Noah. I'm representing the ANC.
Thank you, Honorable Noah.
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, Chair.
Morning.
Go ahead, Honorable Hart.
Go, Tammy.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This is Tammy Breed. I'm a member of the Freedom Front Plus, and I serve in the NCOP.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Good morning, Chair. Chris Houghton. I am a member of this committee from the NA.
Thank you, Chris.
Good morning, Chair. I'm Sipoma Shaba from the NCACC Secretariat.
Thank you, Sipo. Members of the committee. Honorable Al-Hala. Okay, Honorable Hala is not here. There you are, honorable members. Others who join later, then they will introduce them. Let's then move to the next point, which is the briefing by the National Conventional Arms Control Committee. Minister Nell, I would not know who's going to brief us, but the ball is in your hands.
Chairperson and members of the committee, a very, very good morning. Would I beg your indulgence just for a minute? It seems that there was a bit of a communications breakdown. I've just spoken to the chairperson, who I think will be joining in the next few seconds. If you could indulge us just for a short while. Otherwise, there's no problem. I'm also prepared to proceed. But if we could just wait for a second.
If we can just wait for a second, Minister, I think I don't see any problem. Let's just wait for some seconds and see whether the Minister will be able to join.
Sorry, Chair. While we're waiting for the Minister, on the agenda, Chair, I omitted to include the consideration of the draft second term program, Chair. The one which I circulated yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be considered before the minutes, Chair.
Before the minutes.
Yes.
Okay, then it means it will be the consideration of the program. Then from there we follow the minutes.
That's correct, Chair.
Okay, no problem. Honorable members, there is the request for amendment of the agenda, consideration of the draft program for the next term.
Thank you,
Chairperson, my apologies. to
Chair,
interrupt
since
that.
Yeah, okay.
Chairperson, my sincere apologies also to the member for interrupting. No, just to indicate that the minister has joined. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Nel.
Chair, I was saying, since I proposed adoption, I again repeat adoption with that amendment that the Secretariat placed on the parliamentary program that we need to adopt. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nihas. Can we have the second of the amendment of the program, of the agenda? Honorable Nue.
I move, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Second, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's proceed, honorable members. Minister Ntshavheni, welcome to our meeting. We found ourselves already having introduced ourselves, members of the committee, and welcome, Minister. This is our first meeting with the NCACC, and we hope, Minister, we will engage on issues which concerns the committee. There are a number of things which the committee raised, and we trust that you'll able to clarify on some of those things which were raised by the members. But anyway, welcome. Let's proceed. Minister, you found ourselves already on an agenda on item 3, which is the briefing by the National Conventional Arms Control Committee. And we're moving, we had already handed over to yourself to brief the committee about the work of the NCACC. Thank you very much. The ball is in your hand, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to you and good morning to members of the committee. My apologies for joining late. The network has not been very good on my side, so I couldn't join until I had to find a good spot. But with that said, if my apologies accepted, we are here as the committee in terms of the requirement of the Act that we continuously brief the committee on the work done, and we are tabling the quarter 3 and quarter 4 reports to the committee and the annual report. As just as an opening, the first part is that the year calendar that is used is a calendar year, so it is from January to December instead of a financial year, which would be from the 1st of April to the 31st of March in terms of period. And I must also indicate that for the annual report that we are tabling today, as the committee, we only came into office on the 4th quarter of the year, which is the October to December period. Therefore, the first 3 quarters of the year, we were not the committee that was responsible for that. However, as successor in title, we are here to submit that annual report, and also for the quarter 3 that was not dealt with by the committee and the National Conventions Arms Committee. And the other thing I need to just indicate from the onset is the fact that we are up to date with all the permits. As we took office, we made it a point that we deal with the backlog that was outstanding and to get ourselves up to date, including in the first quarter of 2025. We have completed all the submissions that have been there. How we've managed that is because we have standardized meeting dates and to make sure that everybody can be available. So we've chosen the time that everybody is available. We have been seized with work in the committee to make sure that we can have compliance with in all respect. But Chairperson, through you, we have done division of labor between myself and the Deputy Chairperson, who's Deputy Minister Nel. And if, with your permission, I'd like to hand over to him to then present, to brief the committee on behalf of, to brief yourself on behalf of our committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Nel.
Chairperson, Minister and Deputy Minister Holomisa, members of the committee, thank you very, very much for this opportunity to brief the committee on the work of the National Conventional Arms Control Committee, a very important committee both for the economy and the security of our nation and its relations also with other countries. I think just to echo the words of the Minister, to say that we were appointed in October of last year. The first report that we will be presenting predates our tenure in office. The second one covers our first term or first quarter in office. I think just to make a couple of preliminary remarks before I ask Mr. Mashaba to assist in taking the committee through a presentation of the reports for the third and the fourth quarters of last year, which I believe have been circulated to the committee in advance. I think the first is to say that the committee is thoroughly seized with the importance and the urgency of the matters before it. For that reason, it has been meeting regularly as scheduled ever since its appointment. I speak a bit off the top of my head, but I can recall at least 4 regular meetings and a number of special meetings. I think all in all, the committee has probably met about 8 times. Secondly, that as of week before last, we are confident in asserting that we are up to date with all applications up until March of this year. I think as the presentations will also demonstrate that there has been a dramatic increase in the number of applications approved, as well also importantly, the value of those applications. For the third quarter, the total amount of transactions or applications approved amounted to slightly over 1.5 billion rand. By the fourth quarter, that had increased to over 16 million, or 16 billion rather, bordering on 17 billion rand worth of applications that had been approved. So it's very, very clear that this is a key strategic sector of our industrial economy. I think members would see and appreciate the sheer range of countries in respect of which applications have been received. Also the range of items in respect of which those applications have been received and processed. What they indicate clearly is that there's a vast economic potential for this sector, something that must be encouraged. We are also very fortunate in having as a member of our committee, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition. So in that regard, even though it doesn't fall strictly within our statutory mandate, we are also very mindful of the need to develop the sector of our industry, but also to transform it, to make it much more inclusive. Because we appreciate and we're very cognizant of the fact that this important sector of our economy also has its roots very firmly in our unhappy and painful past. And therefore, we need constantly to be striving to encouraging its transformation. Secondly, as we go about processing these applications as expeditiously as possible, we also do so with the requisite rigor prescribed in the Act to make sure that each and every application is vetted by both the Secretariat and the Inspectorate. In that regard, we're also very thankful to members of the committee, which include the Minister of DIRCO, Minister of Police, the chairperson herself, also the minister responsible for state security, and of course, the minister and the deputy minister of defense. What that enables the committee to do is really to have an all-round view of these matters, to take all factors into consideration, also to consider South Africa's diplomatic and strategic interests and the prescripts of our constitution, our law, and various international instruments to which we are party. I move to conclusion, Chairperson, just by indicating that whilst there has been a significant improvement in the rate of processing applications, I would almost go so far as to describe it as a quantum leap from 1.5 billion to 16, almost 17 billion rand. Nonetheless, we are also very mindful of the need constantly to improve the way in which we work and the turnaround time of our work. And in that regard, we are taking very concerted steps to beef up the Secretariat, but also to modernize the work of the committee by digitizing and putting more of its work onto a digitized platform. Obviously, having due regard to the sensitivity and the need for utmost security in the handling of these matters. I think there is also an item on the agenda where the Secretariat will give the committee further details regarding the modernization and the digitization of our modus operandi. The committee also almost from the outset stressed to the Secretariat the importance of developing clear standard operating procedures for the processing of applications. At its last meeting, the Secretariat tabled draft standard operating procedures. Unfortunately, they were received a little bit shortly before the meeting, so members weren't able to fully familiarize themselves, but that matter will receive due consideration at the next meeting of the committee. So, Chairperson, with that, I would then just want to ask the assistance of Mr. Mashaba in going through the detailed reports. For both the third and the fourth quarter, I will do just the brief statistical overview while he then goes into the more detailed breakdown. Thank you. With your permission, Mr. Mashaba, then.
Thank you, Minister. There's just an omission, Minister, before we proceed with Mr. Mashaba. We did not introduce the members of the committee to the Joint Standing Committee members. If you can just do that, or if the Minister can
Certainly.
Just do that before.
I will happily do so, and I will rely on the eyes and ears of the Chairperson, Deputy Minister Holomisa, and the Secretariat headed by Mr. Mashaba. If I've missed any members, obviously there is the Minister in the Presidency, who is the Chairperson of the committee, who has already addressed the committee. We're also thankful that we've been joined by Deputy Minister Holomisa, the Deputy Minister of Defense, and then the head of the Secretariat, Mr. Sipho Mashaba. I'm not sure if I've missed any other members of the committee or the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, let's proceed. I think Mashaba can proceed, Minister.
Ministers, members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Sipho Mashaba. Chair, with your permission, I just wanted to check the presentation. Will it be loaded from your side or will it be loaded from my side?
Can I come in, Chair? Mr.
Yes,
Mashaba, I have made you the co-host, so you can flight it from your side. You are the co-host.
Okay, so I go to share.
Nanjiba, can you assist them?
Yes, Mr. Mashaba, you go to share, and then it will appear on the screen.
Okay.
This is way. The next song is Texas.
Okay. Okay.
Chair, I raised my hand.
Honorable Nihos?
Yes, Chair. May I suggest that since our Secretariat are fully au fait with how to handle these matters, okay, anyhow, there it is, it's done, so there's no suggestion required. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable. Okay, let's proceed, Mr. Mashaba.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, Chair, as I have introduced myself, I'm Sipho Mashaba, currently acting Director Conventional Arms Control. I will be presenting at the high level the reports, which is the third, the fourth, and the annual report for the calendar 2024. Okay, in terms of matters that I will be discussing or touching on as per the topics indicated, Chair, I will then proceed to the next page. I would not waste time on this one. Okay, Chair, as you would know that the committee is actually deriving its mandate from the NCACC Act as amended Act 41 of 2002. And we are existing because there is a defense industry that requires to be regulated where arms control is concerned. But perhaps to indicate that in South Africa, we are not a one-stop shop, meaning we have got partner departments who are also involved in arms control, but at a different level. We have got the police who are dealing with small arms. We have got the DCAC. There's a section called the Non-Proliferation Council. They are dealing more with nuclear and other issues there. So just to indicate that we are three pillars in government. Okay, in terms of the structures, I will only concentrate on the ones that are responsible for now in terms of reporting. We've got the committee as it is appointed. The committee, as it was introduced, we have got ministers currently chaired by the minister in the presidency, and the deputy chair is the minister in justice as he is in attendance. And we've got all other ministers put together. We've got 7 ministers and 4 deputy ministers in the committee. Okay, in terms of Section 23 of the Act, Chair, the committee is responsible to report to Parliament, meaning it will be reporting to the National Assembly as well as to the National Council of Provinces quarterly and annually. And as I indicated earlier or alluded to earlier, that we have included the 3rd quarter, the 4th, and the annual for calendar 2024. But over and above the requirement to report to Parliament, we are also responsible to reporting, meaning the committee responsible to reporting to its international obligations. One being the Arms Trade Treaty, which is a legally binding instrument. And we also have the UN Arms Conventional Arms Register. And we also have the UN Program of Action.
And we also report there annually, and we also have the Vassal arrangement, which forms part of our regulations. We report biennially on that instrument. And perhaps as a note to indicate that our reports, Chair, we are mindful of some of the details that can be contained, that technical specifications on those reports would not be reflected in order to protect military and commercial secrets. And in terms of, again, Section 23, Chair, there is a section that deals with the disclosure and non-disclosure of information. That section, subsection 3, is very eloquent to say no person will disclose any classified information unless that person is authorized by the competent authority. In this case, it will be the committee that would authorize anyone to disclose or not to disclose information. And in terms of the form and shape of the reports that we are presenting to Parliament, they would reflect on the country, the type of munitions, meaning the type of munitions, the descriptions to a certain extent, and the total value per type exported to a particular country for a particular calendar and all that. And furthermore, that, okay, I have indicated this one that the omissions will be made in terms of the report. So I think it was a duplication. My apologies, Chair. I move to the next slide. On this slide, Chair, we have summarized in a nutshell quarter 3 of calendar 2024. In terms of companies that we have registered, and some were like coming for a second registration, but for that particular quarter, we had about 43 entities that were registered, and they were followed by 8 marketing permits, which allows some of the particularly the new ones, because the older ones would have a marketing permit, but new companies would require a marketing in order for them to market their products outside our borders. And in terms of contracting, we had about 25 applications. This is a commitment, Chair, if I may indicate. This is not actual sale. This is a commitment that entities outside our borders are committing with our suppliers here in South Africa, that they are committing to buy to that amount is indicated, close to about 1.5 billion is indicated there, Chair. And in terms of denials in that quarter, there were no denials. And in terms of the actuals now, munitions, we are talking about military equipment here. We have about 720 million there. And also the denials we did not have. So those are the actuals for that particular quarter. And import, largely, it will be for our own consumption, or it could alternatively be for our industry parts and components that they use in the manufacturing process. There's about 10 million there of equipment that we bought under the munitions. And we then move to serial number 6, which is the export, but this is for dual use. These are items that by design, they are not, clear-cut military, but they could be converted or could be used, and some could be, certain components that fit into military instruments. So they are all over the show, but in that particular instance, there's about 76 million of export that we have realized for that period, and there were no denials for that. I then move to the next slide, Chair. Okay, this is the 4th quarterly report, which is October to December, 31 December. In terms of the companies that we registered for that period, Chair, we have 39, and followed by the marketings, we also have 8-year marketing permits that were issued. And in terms of contracting approvals, the commitments that were made that we had, we had 32, but the denials here, we had 2. We had 2 denials, and as you could see, the value is about 16.6 billion that is involved for that particular quarter.
And the actual exports, the number is indicated there. We've got 178, and the value is about 372 million. And we never had any denials on the actual export, but on the contracts we do have. And the imports is indicated that it will be owned in our own forces. We have about 98 permits that were issued, and the value or the amount spent there was about 65 million. And the dual-use goods at serial number 6 were issued about 70 of those permits. The value there is also 178 million. And now coming to the annual report, which is taking into account all 4 quarters. In total, we have about 187 entities that were registered. This is a combination of quite a number of players in this. We've got transporters, we've got freight forwarders, we've got brokers, and we've got manufacturers. And the total of marketing permits that were issued for the calendar is 26. And the commitments in terms of contracting, we've got 128. And the commitment, which as I indicated, Chair, these are not actual sales. And perhaps to also illuminate when it comes to contracting permit is that they are multi-year kind of programs, meaning it depends on the defense spending, meaning they will be buying over a period of multi-years. And then now coming to number 4, which is the actual exports, we have got 529 in total. And the actual was about 3.6 billion. And coming to the imports, the total of issued permits is 304. And the value is about 255 million. And coming to number 6, which is the dual-use goods, a total we've got 187. And the value is about 621 million with no denials. And in terms of comparison, Chair, we just included this slide just to show the changes or where there were significant changes in terms of the numbers. As you could see, in 2023, we had a huge number of registrations. And in 2024, as you can see, we've got a bigger number when it comes to contractings, the commitments that were made. And in 2023 as well, we had a huge number in terms of exports that were issued for that part, the actuals that were achieved in that period, Chair. And the dual uses, I think it was in 2024, as you can see the figure there, Chair. The green figure indicates that there is a significant change or improvement under the dual-use goods. And yes, and as I indicated earlier, that some of the exports will also be overlapping, given that contracts are issued over a long period, taking into account the life cycle of the equipment, like your APCs and many other military munitions. They would go as far as 30 years in terms of their life cycle. Okay, in terms of our international reporting obligation, Chair, for calendar 2024, our reporting for arms trade treaty, this report in particular was submitted, was actually considered and approved by the committee. And we have also sent the copy to DIRCO for onward submission to United Nations Arms Trade Treaty. So it has been approved. We have complied with that one. And the second one, the UN Conventional Arms Register report, as required in terms of Section 23, subsection 2. This is also was considered by the committee and approved. But this one, Chair, is slightly different from other reports. We also have an obligation to make a copy for Parliament We have since submitted a copy to Parliament for consideration before we can send the actual submission to United Nations through the diplomatic channels. So this one has been submitted to Parliament as well. And the last one, which is the Wassenaar arrangement report, this one was also considered and approved by the committee, and we have since submitted a copy to DIRCO for onward submission to Vienna. Now, Chair, I think in terms of the reports, in a nutshell, this is what we captured. This is the part 2 of the reporting that we needed to do, which is to do with the IT system that we have acquired. Okay, can I proceed with this, Chair, or perhaps there would be questions regarding the report itself?
Yeah, proceed, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, Chair, in terms of the system that we acquired, the soft solution successfully, the design, development, and testing, we have finalized that. The system is ready. While we were waiting for the soft solution in between, we have acquired the hardware, given that the hardware that we had was unserviceable and we could not use it for the new system. The hardware was delivered in the beginning of March, meaning the hardware we're talking about the server. We have got 3 sites. This is not a closed network kind of a system, unlike the current one that we've been using, which the server is only one server in the building. This one would have 3 sites, 3 servers. One will remain primary, is in the building. The secondary one will be somewhere in Pretoria where it will be making the backups. And the third one, it is also in Pretoria where it will be the recovery in the event of a disaster. So as we speak now regarding the rollout of these particular servers, we are waiting for design approval. There is going to be a design approval happening. That date, in fact, Chair, has been revised. The design approval is happening on Monday. This is the supplier of the equipment, Dell, and there will be CETA and Department of Defense all put together, will approve the design, and once they are done on Monday approving the design, then they will start connecting the hardware, which will then include the hardware that we use immediately in our offices, the computers. This will happen today. We are busy unpacking this hardware for connection on Monday, Chair. Chair, that takes care of my presentation. That was the end, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mashaba. Thank you very much for the comprehensive presentation you have made. I think the members have well understood what you presented here, and they will engage the report. Members, there you are. This is the report presented by Mr. Mashaba. I propose we deal with the next point on our agenda. Which is the update on the Directorate Conventional Arms Control, and from there we will engage both reports, members, and if we agree, I'll hand over again to the minister on the.
I have my hand, Chair.
Yeah, go ahead. I can't see the hand. Who's speaking?
No way.
Honorable Nwe.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Minister, Deputy Ministers, and staff and everybody on the call, and honorable members. Chair, on the presentation clarification that has just been made, just for clarity. I just want to establish on the contracting where Mr. Mashaba says it is just commitment, it's not an actual. I just want to establish for how long it remains a commitment, or after how long it is reviewed, the process around that. The second one, the
Honorable
denial.
Chair, on a point of
Hello,
order.
Honorable
Chair, on a point of order, I've raised my hand, and I have a point of order. Honorable Noah is now engaging by asking questions of clarification.
Honorable, I did not give you a platform. Okay. Can you please just wait?
Okay, but I have a point of order, please. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Noah.
Chair, I'm waiting.
Yes, I was on the platform, and I was saying, let's proceed with the next presentation, and we'll then engage both presentations.
Okay.
Yes, the presentation, which is agenda item number 4, the update on the Directorate Conventional Arms Control on electronic permit application system rollout. So I was saying.
Thank you, Chair. I will lower my hand.
Chair.
Thank you very much.
Chairperson, my apologies. May I come in? Sorry, I'm just struggling to raise my hand.
Okay,
Chair, I think just to indicate that I think Mr. Mashaba in his presentation indicated that he would proceed from the first item directly to the second. In fact, it's up on the screen at the moment. So that presentation has been done.
Oh, that presentation has been done?
Yes, yeah. It was incorporated. Well, it followed immediately from the initial one. Yeah.
Okay, Minister. Thank you for thanks a lot. There you are, members.
Thank you, Chair. That was my point of order, that both presentations had been done. Thank you. Yes, that was my point of order. Both presentations had been done. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honourable members, and thank you, Minister. Meaning that members, both presentations have been done. Let's engage the report. I cannot see who when people raise his hands. Honourable members.
Okay, Chair, I've raised my hand. Sorry, I just have to audibly then tell you if you can't see the hand. And I think all of us will have to do.
Yeah, I cannot see the hand. Okay, the first one will be Carl, and who will be the next? Let me start, Carl. Let me start with Honourable Noe, who already wanted to engage the report. Let me start with him.
That's fine.
Then you'll be the number 2. Who else want to engage the report, members?
Chair, I see Mr. Hatting has his hand up, and Mr. Godsell, Chair.
Okay, then we've got Honourable Noe, we've got Honourable Nihas, then we've got Honourable Hatting, and who else, number 4?
Godsell, Mr. Godsell.
Honourable Godsell. Who else?
That's all for now, Chair, that I see.
That's all for now. Okay, let's proceed. Let me start with you, Honourable Noe.
Oh, there's also Ms. Sokanyile. Ms. Sokanyile just had her hand.
Honourable Sokanyile. Okay, Honourable Noe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. I had already posed the first question. I don't know whether Mr. Machawa did capture it around contracting, which you said is commitment. I just wanted to know for how long it remains under commitment or review. And then secondly, on denial, if we can expatiate more, what does it represent? In other words, what does it mean in real sense? If it's denial, does it mean that contracting can no longer be proceeded with? If you can just give information for our understanding. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Noe. Honorable Nihos.
Thank you, Chair. And let me first of all thank the Chair and also the Deputy Chair of the NCACC and also Mr. Mashaba for the reports that we have received. Chair, it is indeed very interesting because these reports indicate a huge increase in the number of applications, and it seems also in terms of the number of ongoing transactions that is going on, and a large number, the vast overall majority of these applications have been approved. Chair, this happens in a very difficult international context, where we have various areas of armed conflict in Ukraine, and specifically also in apartheid Israel. We also have a situation where munitions manufacturing in South Africa, and specifically by one company, Rheinmetall Denel Munitions, has quadrupled. There has been concerns raised by very authoritative and highly regarded organizations and organizations that do overviews on what happens with the armed trade. Among those that raised their concerns were Euro News, and there was also Investigate Europe. And they raised serious issues together also with an article that was published under the Open Secrets Project of the University of the Witwatersrand. The researchers were Imran Ramout, Michael Merchant, Radisa Partha, and Ebengile Nkamisa. It was published in Africa is a Country. And they raised concerns about the ability of the NCACC to manage the process of evaluating the end user certificates and being able to monitor whether indeed what the orders are that are approved actually end up within the country where the end user certificate is issued for. They raise concerns specifically with countries such as Germany and Hungary, where large amounts of munition from specifically Rheinmetall Denel Munitions are exported to, and that Germany, for instance, indicated that its munitions stockpiles are severely depleted because of the munitions that they are exporting to apartheid Israel and also to the Ukraine. Now, is there any way that the NCACC, with its very limited capacity, and with the previous presentation that we received, which indicated that to a large extent the NCACC is relying on the goodwill of the end user, and when the end user states that those munitions are not sold onwards, that is accepted because of the lack of capacity of the NCACC to be able to follow up and do in loco investigations on this matter. So what we've seen from Investigate Europe was some very, very serious allegations that South African munitions are sold on, are transported to the Ukraine and to apartheid Israel, and they provide detailed information about how shells of those munitions were found both in the Ukraine and in apartheid Israel. So my concern is, we receive a report here today which indicates a massive increase in applications and approved applications and active contracts. As Deputy Minister Andries Nel indicated, it moved from approximately 4 billion to 16 billion over this period of time that we've received the report on. how is it possible for the NCACC to give us any guarantee that these munitions and armaments are not ending up in conflict areas which are excluded in terms of the various international agreements that we have and the commitments that South Africa has made? Chair, I'm prepared to make available, if the committee does not have these particular articles that were published by Euronews, also by Investigate Europe, and the Open Secrets Project of Wits University. I want to conclude, Chair. The concern that we express here is that the information that is provided to us as a committee is indeed very little. And we are given the explanation that this is because of intelligence and security reasons. So it is impossible for us to, on the basis of this information that we have received today, to evaluate whether the NCACC is indeed carrying out its responsibilities properly. It's impossible for us to say that the allegations made by Investigate Europe, by Euronews, and the Open Secrets Project are wrong. And in fact, I want to point out that the Open Secrets Project requested from the NCACC more detailed information because they wanted to verify the situation. They didn't want to make spurious and unfounded allegations, and the NCACC refused to provide any of the documentation that the Open Secrets Project requested, again on the basis of intelligence and security reasons. So, Chair, it is in this context that one must raise serious concerns, because it seems that the NCACC cannot provide us with any guarantees. And under the circumstances, when you look at the huge increase in manufacturing of munitions, especially by Rhine.
As you conclude.
Yes, but this is an important point, so I'll conclude with it. That Rhine Metal Denel Munitions is manufacturing 3-4 times more than usual. They do actually day and night, overnight shifts of munitions that are in high demand in Ukraine and in apartheid Israel. Now, under those circumstances, how are we able to know that those munitions do not end up in those countries? And therefore, on the 14th of February 2025, my party, the Economic Freedom Fighters, issued a media statement demanding that there must be a total end to the export of munitions from especially Rhine Metal Denel munitions. It must be put on hold until there can be a full commission of inquiry into where these munitions end up and what the consequences are if these munitions end up in areas that are excluded from our international commitments, therefore in areas that will be a contravention of our international commitments. Therefore, the EFF requested for such a suspension of all exports by Rhine Metal Denel munitions and other manufacturers who
Thank you,
are
Honorable.
under question.
Honorable.
You,
I think your point has been noted. Thank you. Honorable Heading. Honorable Harding. Is Honorable Harding here? Or
Mr. Hatting, you are muted.
okay, while he's struggling, let's go to the next one. You come after Honorable Bottom.
Good afternoon. Oh, good morning, Chair and colleagues. My question is perhaps the same as Honourable Noes. I just want to maybe rephrase it to ask exactly how many actual contractual commitments resulted from those proposals that was mentioned. Also, how accurate is the reported value of exports? So have the value of the has the value been corrected where short shipments were reported and when permits were cancelled and reapplied for in the same reporting period? And I'm not sure whether we'll have a further opportunity down the line. And I think as the Deputy Minister of Justice is still online, I also just wanted to ask, in terms of the reports that we're getting here today, the picture that is painted is that everything is hunky-dory. However, you will recall that Honourable Hutting and myself wanted to do an unannounced oversight at the DCAC offices, and we were prevented from doing so. So perhaps while Mr. Mashaba and the Minister is online, I can just ask, why there was a need to prevent us from doing such oversight when the picture that is painted here today is that everything is working well.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Gordon. Honourable Hedden.
Chair, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Honourable Hedden.
Thank you, Chair. Let me just get back to my notes quickly. Chair, sorry, I was struggling to get unmuted. I certainly struggled. Yes, Chair, I've got some questions. Certainly, the rand value of the contracting and export permits are very impressive. But then I would like to know how accurate are these figures, and specifically on the contracting and export permits. If the value of the contracting permit are being amended during the reporting period, is only the additional value approved or deducted if it's less to the statistics, or is it entire new contract value being added? And then how accurate is this? This is very important for the industry to know and for our economy to know. How accurate is the value presented for the export? And does it also, the value presented, does it include cancelled or expired permits that were applied for again in the reporting period? Obviously, if it does, it will give a very, very inflated figure. And the same goes then for the export. Does the value presented included cancelled, expired permits that were applied for again during the reporting period? And does also the export, does it include the corrections or short shipments? It's very important to know that. The second question, Chair, relates then, we know from media report that there's a SIU investigation ongoing about the theft and or illegal export of intellectual property of the NEL and other members of the arms industry. Now, I would like to know what steps are being taken and have been taken by the DCAC and by the NCACC and the Inspectorate to the NCACC to ensure that the IP is not exported without approval, and how, if we can just get an indication, what steps have been taken where this, in fact, has happened. Then my third and last question, Chair, relates to the Scrutiny Committee that considers all matters and applications which needs to serve at the NCACC. before being presented to the NCACC for a decision. Now, the Deputy Minister indicated that there were 4 regular meetings of the NCACC and 4 special meetings. So I would like to know how many times did the Scrutiny Committee actually sit, who chairs it, and and then also apart from October 2024 in the reporting periods, how many times did this Scrutiny Committee actually sat? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Eti. Honourable Sokanyile. Honourable Sokanyile. Is Honourable Sokanyile here? Nandibo?
Chair, it seems like the system kicked her out. I don't see her.
Oh, it kicked her out. Okay. As soon as she comes back, I think you will give her an opportunity to speak. But honourable members.
In the interim of her being kicked out, may I just quickly come in and maybe raise a concern to the committee and the ministers? It's Honourable Jingila.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Yeah, sorry, man.
You are late in the meeting, but let's give you an opportunity to.
Yeah, it's just a short one on a concern because it impairs. Yeah. It impairs on our legislative responsibility of conducting oversight effectively. And if information is censored and we are informed that they cannot give adequate information.
Can you speak loud? Can you speak loudly?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, proceed.
I'm saying the censorship or the censoring or filtering of information impairs on our responsibility as members of parliament to conduct impactful and effective oversight under the pretext of containing or protecting information that is deemed to be classified. But because we have taken an oath and we have done affirmations in Parliament when we were sworn in, part of our responsibility is to interact with such information for effective oversight. So it's rather concerning for the department not to present a true reflection of what exactly is happening and who the contractors, including imports and exports, the details of the entities, the details of the countries that they're interacting with, everything that has to do with the bolts and nuts of the NCACC, so that we can then be able to be empowered to engage effectively. Because at this stage, we're very minimal information, and even the information that is required by other entities that seek to conduct their own independent oversight is not given. So we request that we be taken into confidence by providing information that we require for us to then come back or engage effectively with these processes, because it raises suspicions that there is some form of secrecy and containment of information, and that doesn't augur well with what we are deployed to come and do and conduct as our responsibilities of oversight. Because when you do oversight, we have no limitations. You go to the stretches, and you, as a joint standing committee, even worse, we have a bigger responsibility of interacting with even the most classified of information. Even if they say that information will be given in the joint standing committee of intelligence, whatever, but we have signed and we have taken an oath in public, and everything and anything that is given to us is not shared anyway. It remains the information and the property of the National Assembly and Parliament. So if we are treated as people that cannot be trusted with such information, then that is problematic, Chair. I wanted to draw that caution and make that request that information must be given as transparent as possible so that there's accountability in these processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Njengela. Honourable Sokanyile, are you back? Honorable Sokanyile? I see you're here, but you are muted. Do you still want to speak? Can we proceed? Okay, honorable members, we will allow one or two more questions about those who wanted to speak, but they are unable to speak. Ministers, I hope you have noted the members' concerns. Let's give you an opportunity to clarify or respond to the questions which were posed here by members. Minister, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson. And thank you to the honorable members for the questions. Majority of the questions are technical questions, which because they have to do with how the report is compiled, and therefore those questions will be then handed over to Mr. Mashaba to respond as the report is compiled by the Secretariat, the test. But we have satisfied ourselves that the issues raised by the members of the committee are taken care of. I'll then deal with one or two issues and then hand over to the Deputy Minister, who's the Deputy Chairperson, to deal with the remainder that are not technical before we hand over to Mr. Mashaba, and then we'll come back on that one. I'd like to deal with the matter raised by Honorable Kalnihas on the concerns in terms of onward exportation as we deal, and I won't be specific to a company, as we deal with the decisions whether to approve or not to approve. So in term, and those concerns we've grappled with ourselves to say what guarantees do we have, and we have to be also taken through the requirement of the law. And if you allow me, in terms of the Act, Section 16 of the Act, it provides as follows: where controlled items are exported and ownership thereof is transferred, the committee must satisfy itself that the government of the country of import has given an undertaking reflected in an end user certificate that the controlled items in question will not be transferred, resold, or re-exported to any other country without prior approval of the committee acting on behalf of the government of South Africa. So the concerns that Rheinmetall, because they've been supporting country X or country Y or country Z, will therefore use those munitions or beef up their own munitions to export to those countries. It's contrary to the provisions of the law. The law requires them to come back to us and request permission to re-export or to resell in order. And we have not received, as we've started and we've indicated that we've started just in October, we have not received such a request from them to onward sell to the countries that are mentioned by Honorable Nihas. If Rheinmetall does that, the Rheinmetall are bound by the UN Convention on the sale of controlled arms, and therefore if they do the violation, they risk themselves being sanctioned through the UN mechanism. And that's the satisfaction we have given ourselves. More so that Rheinmetall are not Rheinmetall alone, they are also participating with a South African-owned company, which is known as Tinel, and therefore in that arrangement, we are satisfied that they have more to lose than anything else if they violate the provisions of our laws. I'll then hand over to Deputy Chairperson of the convention of the committee, so that we can deal with he can deal with the other questions that are not technical in nature before we invite Mr. Mashab. Thank you. Through your permission, Chairperson.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Minister can proceed.
Yeah. Chairperson, thank you very much, and thank you very, very much to the members for their very well considered and insightful questions. I think I'm going to focus mainly on the oversight-related issues that have been raised. I think, firstly, the Honourable Nshilinga, I think, as we said at the outset, the National Conventional Arms Control Committee operates within the four corners of the National Conventional Arms Control Act. That's an act of Parliament that was adopted by the elected representatives of the people. Our duty as members of that committee is to give effect to the legislative mandate exercised by the representatives of the people as captured in the Act. The information that we are providing to this committee and which is made public contains all of the information prescribed by the Act. Therefore, the contention that it is the committee that is filtering or censoring information, I think, is simply not true. For us to provide information beyond what we are providing would mean that we are acting beyond the scope and the mandate set out in an Act of Parliament. And that we cannot do because it would mean that we would be acting illegally. And by extension, then also violating our oath as members of Parliament and as members of the executive, and the oath that we take in fulfilling our duties as members of the National Conventional Arms Control Committee. So I think just to give the assurance to both Honourable Nshilinga as well as all members of the committee is that there is no process of filtering or censoring any information. We welcome the oversight role and responsibility of Parliament, and that is also why we are here today. And also we're here today because we are mandated by the Act to be here and to disclose the information that we have. Secondly, the Honourable Gotzel refers to, where he's indicated that we suggest that everything is hunky-dory. I think we explicitly stated the contrary. We said that there has been a vast improvement in the fourth quarter of last year since the appointment of the current committee. The value of the permits has increased from 1.5 billion, Honourable Niaus, not 1.5 to 16.6 billion, which is a considerable increase. The issues of the translation of those contractual approvals into actual exports obviously is a more complex matter, and I think the Secretariat will also add further details to the methodology used in the actual calculation of those amounts. But I think I just want to say, Chairperson, that Mr. Gotzel puts us in a little bit of a difficult and invidious position, in that following the visit, shall we put it like that, to Defence Headquarters, we did raise concern with the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the need to balance both the oversight role and responsibility and duty of members of Parliament and committees of Parliament, also with adherence to the very same laws passed by Parliament that regulate access to public facilities in general, and in particular, those facilities that are of a security nature and that have been classified as so-called national key points. I don't think this is the time or the place to ventilate and debate those issues. Suffice to say is that I think it would be incorrect to say that Mr. Gotzel and any other member accompanying him were blocked. I say that find ourselves in a somewhat invidious position because Mr. Gotzel, amongst others, has lodged a complaint against the chairperson with Parliament's Ethics Committee. And I think then to pursue a line of questioning in the committee whilst there is a live complaint serving before the Ethics Committee, I think is somewhat unfair, unprocedural. And Chairperson, we would request then that we not venture further into that, lest it prejudice the integrity of the process currently underway before the Ethics Committee. Chairperson, with that, I think I conclude simply by saying or reiterating the point that I made in my initial presentation, that the committee is favored by the fact that it counts in its membership the ministers and deputy minister of DIRCO, minister and deputy minister of ministers of defense, of police, and of state security. Many of those agencies and departments are also represented in the scrutiny committee. So there is quite a rigorous process of scrutiny. The committee is favored with very, very detailed assessments of the situations in the countries in respect of which applications are made. With that, I thank you, and with your permission, then ask that Mr. Mashaba, as directed by the chairperson, then deal with a number of the more technical questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Mr. Mashaba, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I will deal with the first question. The first question was more on why do contracting permits would perhaps remain longer as a commitment, perhaps to indicate to honorable member that basically what happens, contracting permits, as you would know, the authority here, it will be the committee, meaning they must go through a process where there will be a scrutiny committee, which will then recommend to the NCACC either approving or disapproving. That's one. And after that has been certified, say for argument's sake, it has been approved. Before we can export, there must be an application, but this application for export as well will be subjected to scrutiny. Given that countries are fluid at times, we may not guarantee. We need to make a proper assessment whether from the time a contracting was approved and the time when they are now ready to export, the situation is still as it was when the contracting was considered. But over and above that, there are issues that are beyond us as the regulator. One being that there will be production processes, there would be delivery schedules, there will be defense budgets that are not within our control. So those are elements that are impacting or influencing the time it takes to achieve the actual export. And now on the second question, there was the issue of the denial, what does denial mean? Denial, in fact, yes, means exactly that, meaning your application for that period has been denied, given the circumstances that are prevailing at that moment. However, if the situation changes or positively, the applicant has the right to apply again, and it may be considered again, depending on whether the outcome will be the same or it will be positively considered. That was for the first question, Chair. And coming to the second, I think the second question the Minister dealt with, that regarding the issue of Rheinmetall. There was the issue of the values that are changing on the system, whether when there is an amendment or a change and all that, perhaps to indicate in terms of contracting, historically, we have never had a situation where a contracting permit itself was cancelled. But when it comes to activities where you come to exports, these are actuals where the equipment is moving. There are so many dependencies, and this is where permits will be extended, will be cancelled because the shipping liner does not accept, or there could be a change and all that. So those are also issues that are beyond our scope of regulating, but they will come for a cancellation. And when that happens, yes, the system is cognizant. The moment you cancel a permit, it will update the report accordingly. So it's a system generated report. It's not generated by myself or anyone, but system generated depending on the activity that is happening. If you cancel, you issue, then the report will be updated accordingly. And on the issue of the contracting, which links to the first question as well, contractings by their very nature, they are multi-year, because some of the contracts would last for 30 years, meaning they will be overlapping. Hence, in a particular calendar, you would not see the actuals that are aligned or linked to the contracting value that has been approved. They will be spreading all over the period up until the expiry of that particular contract. Say it is 15 or 10. Well, there could be cases, yes, where there could be a contract that is only valid for a year or a shorter period, but most of them, given that military munitions have a longer lifespan, they would be valid for longer. Hence, they will spread and overlap, and hence now the figures would not tally with what has been approved in terms of the contracting. That's the one. And coming to the issue of the IP of Denel, one, I would like to believe that currently there is an investigation by the SIU, and as such, I would like to think that from where we sit as the regulator, we may not be in a position to interfere with that process until we are informed otherwise. That is for that one. And in terms of the question regarding the how many times that the SC meetings meet, the SC meetings meet monthly. On the second week of the month, we meet monthly, and these meetings are chaired by the DG of the Department of Defense, the Acting Secretary for Defense. I think I've answered all the questions under Mr. Hatting. And under Mr. Gottsel, there was the issue of, which is also linking back to some of the questions that I have answered, the short shipments. Yes, there are cases where there are short shipments for reasons that are beyond us, but if they approach us with a permit where there's a short shipment, there will be adjustments on the system. The system will recognize the moment you change the quantities and the values, it will update the reports accordingly. So the system does that automatically, which is the current, even the system that we are launching is actually doing that even more advanced. The one that we are launching would be more advanced, even giving warnings when it comes to other things. I think basically, Chair, this takes care of the questions that, as some of them were already been answered by the ministers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mashaba.
Thank you, Chairperson. I wish to contribute.
Yes,
to this debate.
Minister, I was going to give you a platform, but anyway, because you are already there, Minister. Proceed.
When you say minister, are you referring to me? I'm the deputy minister, or are you referring to my boss, the other minister?
I'm referring to you, General. I salute.
Chairperson, honorable minister, honorable members, my colleague. I think Honorable Carl Neerhouse has raised a serious allegation. And I think if he can assist us as he has promised, that he's got information, please forward that to our secretariat. And then our secretariat, you should table such report in our next meeting, where you have the full plenary of the NACC. And then the committee, NACC committee, will advise what should we do. I've taken note what the Honorable Minister had said, but I think just in case that there's what he is saying, that is Honorable Kalni House, there is prima facie evidence. We have to satisfy ourselves and also satisfy the country to make sure that we're on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Honorable members, I see some hands. We will not entertain the a further engagement on these matters. We'll propose that if there's anything which was not responded to, kindly just do it in writing and submit it to the secretary, and it will follow the due processes.
Chair, sorry, Chair, on a point of order, I have
Chair, I had raised my hand on the.
I've not given you a platform, honourable members. Can you wait? Can you wait?
Please, just note our hands then, please, Chair.
Please, Chair. Yes.
Okay, let's do this, honourable members. I'll give you a platform. Be short on what you want to say here, and please let's stick to time. I'm just going to give you a minute to say whatever you want to say here. I think the minister and the deputy minister, and both the deputy ministers and Mr. Mashaba have presented, and have responded to many questions. But I'll give you a minute, honourable members, just to make a follow up on questions. Let me start with you, Honourable Heading.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, yeah, you said that there were responses, but in fact, Mr. Mashaba did not respond to the question. I referred to the SIU investigation as a background on the theft or illegal export of intellectual property. And certainly, I would not suggest that anybody interferes with an SIU investigation as he alleged. My question was direct. What steps are being taken by the DCAC, the NCACC, and the Inspectorate to prevent this? And how effective are these efforts of them to prevent the illegal export of IP to wherever? That question was not responded to. May I please have a response? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Hadi. Honourable Nihas.
Yes, Chair. My first comment is that on the basis of the paucity of information that we have received, whether it's in terms of the Act or not, it means that our committee cannot carry out our oversight duty. We are being utilized in this instance under the current circumstances simply as a rubber stamp. We are here to provide a fig leaf for whatever is happening. So this committee is not able to carry out its oversight function. Secondly, Chair, the Deputy Minister correctly pointed out to me that the starting amount was not 4 billion, but 1.6 billion, and then went up to over 16 billion. Of course, his correction only helps to strengthen the position that I made about the huge exports taking place. And that links for me to the issue, Chair, that sales, especially to Germany, are going to Germany in order to replenish their depleted munitions. And that process of sales replenishing their depleted munition stockpiles means that they are able to provide more arms to the Ukraine and to apartheid Israel. How does that impact on our various commitments in terms of international arms control? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
And I will respond, sorry, yes, let me just say, I will definitely respond to the invitation from Deputy Minister Holomisa to provide the information at my disposal, and the members of the NCAC will receive that information next week. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Niehaus. You are first concerned to say the committee is used. We totally differ with that one, but we'll discuss it in our meeting. Honourable Niehaus, Honourable Njingila, just a minute, please.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I'll just express
my hand first, Chair.
No, comrade, no way. I'm on the floor, Chief.
Oh, you'll follow, Honourable Noah.
No. Be patient, Chief. Be patient, okay? So, no way.
Honourable members, let's be open.
So, just to express my disappointment on the response from the Deputy Minister or Minister Andre Snell. We are all mandated and constitutionally required to do our functions with no limitations. Even the fact that you asked, even what is said by Mr. Mashaba, that national key points and independent visits cannot be conducted, that is completely out of order. That's completely not true. Out of oversight, unannounced visit, in fact, give more detail than the ones that are being announced, because that's where we get most of the information, but I'm not there. In support of what is being cited and extremely amplified by Honorable Niehaus, the U.S. Defense Report says that through Rheinmetall and Denel Pty Ltd, manufacturing artillery of shells is used in Ukraine and Israel. And let me give you the stats. In some of the sites in Germany, Spain, and Hungary, including South Africa and Australia, there's an increase in production of up to 700,000 of artillery shells and up to 10,000 tons of gunpowder per year by 2025. This includes gunpowder factory in Romania as part of the project developed with the European Commission. So, in line with what is being said by the Deputy Minister, Holomisa, we need to have an inquiry in this so that we are brought into confidence that indeed South Africa is not complicit in the lives of people that are lost in Gaza and in other areas in the world where there is serious conflict and war-sponsored activities, that some of our entities and some of our resources are complicit in killing people, and it's part of destabilizing peaceful living conditions and humanity. So can we be brought into confidence, Chair? So we're not going to accept half-cooked, half-baked responses. We need detail, we need confirmations, and we need something that can be measured, something scientific, so that when we come back and engage, we engage based on what would have been given. If in fact, but in our next engagement with NCACC, we should have received this report, because we're also capable of conducting our own research. And if it's inconsistent with what we would have found, we'll then engage and say, indeed, the information is filtered, the information is censored, and there is some secrecy, and they are protecting whatever interest that would have been identified by our own research. Thanks, Chair.
Point noted, Honourable Jingala. Honourable Noe.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I just want to make a cautionary statement to my colleagues, and in the manner in which they put up information or inquiry to the department and so on. They use the committee, we, like Honorable Niehaus and Honorable Hartang and Honorable Jingle. I'm not necessarily denying information they are having or what they want to extract from the department, but there's a tendency of making as if the information they have, it represents the committee, wherever it has never served before the committee, and we interrogated at the committee level and agree that this is the information
Chair, on a
we need
point of
from
order.
the
Chair,
department.
on a
So,
point of order.
no, you see now, when you are talking,
my
I
point
don't
of
talk.
order be recognized.
You see now, Chair.
Honorable Nuh, you are out of order, Chief.
Stop, please,
Sit down.
man.
Honorable Nuh, sit
No,
down.
Jingila, you
Sit
stopped,
down. Sit down.
Jingila, you stopped me talking when I was talking, when you were talking. Why are you undermining me like
Honorable members,
I'm not your boy, man.
orderly, please?
Point of order.
Why these guys are doing this? I'm not saving you in
But
this committee.
we are behaving like a boy now. We are behaving like a boy.
No, it doesn't.
Respond to the
No, yeah, but
point
you are quiet.
I want
engage
to recognize my point of order.
Engage the report. Answer the report. We are not the members of the committee.
No, the information you are having wherever you get
Engage
it,
the report. We said we require an investigation. We cannot be dictated by you on what issues we must raise. We cannot be dictated by you. We are requesting an investigation and intel
for the meeting.
You
No,
tell
man,
us
you
not to
must
raise
keep
issues.
quiet.
Can you play your role as chair?
Can you mute all the comrades, all the honorable members?
Quiet.
Chair, I made a point of order. Are you going
No,
to
wait a bit. No, wait with your order, Honorable Niehaus. Why will you always Honorable Niehaus, why I speak, you will raise. Why don't you wait? Let me finish what I'm talking. Even if it's rubbish, you don't accept it. Wait, let me finish. Because you are saying.
Can you mute?
No, you are.
Chairperson, I
Honorable
suggest
Niehaus.
the admin mute everybody.
Honorable Niehaus, don't say the committee has failed in its way, because this committee has not failed.
Honorable members, can we be orderly, please? Can we please be orderly, members? Can we give each other a chance to speak? Members, we have given you an opportunity to speak, and you spoke. Can you give other members to speak, to raise their point? We cannot proceed in this manner, honorable members. Honorable Nuh, can you conclude?
Chair, I must register my concern in this committee. It is happening consistently that when I speak, Honorable Niehaus and Honorable Jingila, they will get into while I'm talking. And when they speak, I keep quiet. They must give me a respect that I give them.
Thank you, Honorable.
I reject in total. Let me finish. I reject in total that Honorable Niehaus will make a statement that says this committee is failing and this committee is being denied information. That does not represent the committee at all, because he includes me. They include us as a committee. They are not the committee as themselves. So they should make a statement that represents either themselves or the party. But when they say the committee, it then includes us. That's where I'm drawing a line, Chairperson, that the information that they are having, it's not the information we are having. And therefore, when they make accusations to the department or to anyone, it shouldn't as though it represents us. That's my point. The last point, Chair, that I want to request from Mr. Mashaba or the department, that if out of any export that we are making, we are earning something, I want to make this a suggestion, Minister. We know we have been having a complaint about budget cuts that affect the department. If it can be indicated that going forward, the exports that we are making out of munitions, it is able to inject some via whatever means or levels in terms of pressure into the department, so that it can inject some money into financing the budgetary constraints that the department constitutes. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, you're going to entertain my point of order.
Thank you, Honorable Nuh. Honorable members, can you please be orderly? Honorable Niehaus, I'm pleading, please. Just be orderly, Honorable Niehaus.
I'm absolutely orderly, Chair. I'm raising a point of order.
Yeah. No. Honorable Niehaus, I'm not going to give you the platform to. You've raised some follow-up questions here. I'm going to give the minister.
Point of order, Chair, not a question.
Honorable
But
Minhas, please,
you allowed Honorable Noe to
can you
address
just be
us
orderly
personally,
once,
not the meeting.
in
He was
a
not
while,
addressing
please?
you, Chair.
Chair, I object to the way in which you chair. I raised a point of order and you should recognize me. Those are meeting rules, Chair. The rules of the National Assembly apply to our portfolio committee and joint standing committees. So the rules of the National Assembly.
I've not given you a platform. Can administrator please mute Honorable Minhas?
Chair, you are out of order.
Chair, we are not fair.
You are out of order.
If somebody rise with a point of order, you stop everything. You stop everything. You entertain the point of order. The way you are sharing the meeting, Chair. No, it's not right. It's not right. I've been listening. If somebody rises in and on a point of order, you have to entertain the point of order. Even in the plenary, they do entertain the point of orders.
Can you mute all the members, please?
Honorable Chair, just be fair.
Members, we cannot proceed in this manner. We can't proceed in this manner.
But
we
you
can't
have to
chair
be fair.
because you are chairing in the wrong way.
A point
You
of
are
order.
not following
A point of order is the point of order.
and the NCOP.
Why are you not entertaining
No, the
a point of
honorable
order?
member is out of order. You cannot just talk without being given by the chair to speak.
I'm trying to correct. I'm trying to correct the wrongs that the chair is doing here. Please, point of order. It's a point of order. You have to stop and listen to the point of order.
Honorable members, we cannot proceed.
No, I'm talking about you. That you can't just speak without getting a permission in a meeting.
I'm requesting you to be orderly. Please, let's all be orderly, members. Members, we have raised your concerns, and we've got the ministers here. The minister will have responded to your questions. Mr. Mashaba responded, and you had the follow-up questions. And those follow-up questions will give the minister and Mr. Mashaba, the ministers and Mr. Mashaba, an opportunity to respond to those questions. But we cannot keep on asking one and the same, honorable members. If there's any other thing, Honorable Minister Holomisa indicated here that you need to submit whatever concern you have to the committee, and I think that will be the process which will follow. I'm going to give the minister and deputy ministers and Mr. Mashawa an opportunity to answer the follow-up questions. Minister, can you? The platform is yours. Can you just answer on the questions which were the follow-up questions which were requested here?
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me start on the matter that was raised by Honorable Kalnihas. And this is the issue of saying there are evidence and whatever. Deputy Minister Holomisa had proposed, and even in the previous meeting, the committee met with the Secretariat, there was a commitment that we will be finished, the Secretariat will be finished with the evidence of the claims that the munitions or components of munitions that were manufactured in South Africa by Rheinmetall Denel will be provided so that we can follow up. And why that is important is because we have recourse. If indeed there was an onward resale or export of those components that were manufactured or munitions that were manufactured in South Africa without the explicit permission of our committee.
Honorable Minister Mkunga, please mute.
Thank you, Chair. Without the explicit permission granted, because our certificates require, and they're specific when we approve the exports, that they must then comply with that requirement. We've got recourse of reporting them to the United Nations for those violations. I want to caution members, although we appreciate their concern, that Rheinmetall does not only manufacture in South Africa, They manufacture in other countries. And we, as our committee in South Africa, we have no control of those munitions that are manufactured in other countries than in South Africa. Our control and consent is about those that are manufactured in South Africa. So we will welcome the evidence that is provided so that we can then follow up and then make sure we implement the provisions of the law and the provisions of our processes. That is the first issue. The second issue is the issue that it was said Mr. Mashaba did not respond to the issue of the sale of IP, Diner's IP. As things stand, that is the allegation, and that's why the SIU is investigating. As Mr. Mashaba has indicated, when the SIU has completed the investigations and provided us with a report, including a provisional report, will then look at the violations if they are, and then say how do we prevent them, and how in terms of the law, how do we get those who have violated to be held accountable by the relevant authorities? Because you should remember, our responsibilities is to a particular extent, and they're provided and limited in terms of the Act. And therefore, we act within the scope, and that which involves the defense industry and any other company that is registered for export and also for sale, there will be authorities that are mandated to deal with them, and then will then report and request a report or alert yourself of sale. You have also dealt with the issue, or the continuous insistence on the issue of not full disclosure. And we have a deputy minister, who's the deputy chairperson of the committee, has indicated that there is an act of parliament which guides how we respond and what we are allowed to provide in this. And if your members will recall, this committee takes place not in a closed forum, but in a public forum. So we need to then also appreciate the protections and the security requirements that we need to exercise. However, you are a committee of parliament. If you are not satisfied with the provisions of the law, my proposal would be, let's jointly scrutinize that law and say, do we need further amendments to enable to deal with your concerns if these concerns cannot be mitigated according to this. I'll want to request the deputy chairperson of the committee, DM Nel, to then close up the questions I did not respond to, so that we can hand back to you, Honorable Chairperson. DM Nel.
Thank you, Minister. DM.
Yeah, Chairperson, thank you very, very much. I think the chairperson has responded quite comprehensively to all questions. I think just to reiterate the last point, I think we note and we empathize with the Honorable Nchingela's concerns regarding the nature and the form of the information presented. But we reiterate the point that we are a creature of statute and we operate within the parameters of the law made by Parliament. I think, as the Minister or the Chairperson has indicated, the correct course of action would be for the committee in its report to the respective houses to then raise concern regarding the statutory ambit within which the committee operates. But I think we can't, either as members of Parliament or the executive who have undertaken oaths to uphold the Constitution and the law of the Republic, to act contrary to those laws. The fundamental tenet of the rule of law is that the law binds everyone, including those who have made the law. And I think we need to respect that. Having said that, I don't think that should be interpreted as in any way being obstructionist. We've indicated that we welcome oversight and this engagement, and that we do so within the parameters of the law. Any information that is at the disposal of either the committee as a collective or any of its constituent members would be most welcome and would be investigated with the seriousness that it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Chair of the committee. Honorable Minister, do you want to say something? Deputy Minister Holomisa?
I'm covered by my colleagues.
Thanks, Deputy Minister. Mr. Mashaba, do you want to?
Chairperson, my apologies. If I may just indicate that Deputy Minister Makungo, also Deputy Minister of Defence, I believe, has also joined the meeting, and just to recognize him as part of the team. Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Minister. Minister Makungo, you are welcome. We'll also give you an opportunity to speak. Honorable, Deputy Minister, do you want to say something? Deputy Minister Makungo, you want to say something before I give a platform to Mr. Mashaba? Okay, let's proceed there. Mr. Mashaba, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps to illuminate on the question from Honorable Nue. Regarding the permits that we issue, currently we don't charge industry for the permits that they apply for. However, as it is known knowledge, they pay taxes when they transact, meaning during their transactions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mashaba. Honorable members, I think we have come to the end of our engagement with the committee. I'm going to give the minister a platform just to conclude on behalf of the committee, and we will then proceed with our next part of the meeting. Minister Nchabeni.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to members of the committee for this opportunity to interact. And we are hoping that as we continue to interact, we'll find a middle ground in line with the provisions of the law, so that we can then make sure there's effective oversight, but also within the parameters of the law, and also there is ourselves being held to account for the decisions that we make. But we all and collectively have the responsibility to make sure that we work in the interest of our country, we work in the interest of promoting a critical industry, and also that also must fall within the parameters of the law. We appreciate the robustness of the engagements to make sure that we are also strengthened in terms of the controls that we put in place, and we commit to work on those as we progress in reporting to the committee, but progress to do our work. And thank you for the opportunity on behalf of myself and members of the committee, who's DM Nell and DM Holomisa, and also we appreciate the support of Deputy Minister Mukongo, who's the Deputy Minister responsible for the responsible department, which is the Department of Defense. Thank you, Chairperson, and we wish you all the best in the remaining deliberations you're going to hold as a committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Minister and the members of the committee, you have all indicated that you are acting within the prescript of the law, and Deputy Minister Nell indicated here that you are acting within the four corners of the law. Continue doing that. And what we will request from the committee, Minister, is that when we are engaging with you, when we are communicating with you, respond to us on time. If there are matters which we raise, which come from the committee members, which we then forward them to you, please come on time. Don't take time to respond. We are here together. We need to work together as members of the Parliament, and we have our a responsibility as a committee, and you've got your responsibility. And let's work together to ensure that we serve the people of this country, and we discharge our responsibility and serve the people of the country. With those few words, thank you very much. You are now released, ministers and the committee. Members will release the members of the committee, and will proceed with the next session of our So the ministers are released, and let's proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, ministers. Honorable members, let's proceed with the next part of our meeting. The next part of our meeting, as indicated in our agenda, which is item number 5, the consideration of the draft program, which I think is highlighted here. Honorable Gigawa, are you here? Can you please proceed with this part of the program, please?
Yes, Chair, I am here. Thank you very much. I think I would like to first apologize to members of the committee for joining the meeting late. I sincerely thought it was starting at 10. It was a genuine mistake on my part that I promise will never happen again. That being said, we proceed now to the program of the committee for the second term. I don't know who is taking us through it.
Morning, Chair. It's
Yes.
Dr. van Rensburg. Chair, with your permission, I can quickly run through the committee program.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, co-chairs, and to all members. Chairs, members, this is the proposed draft program that we want to put forward. It has been distributed yesterday, and I'm sure members had an opportunity to just look through it. But I will just quickly go through the highlights of the program. Suffice to say, it is based on a lot of the previous work of the committee, where there were recommendations for further engagements, and the previous work of the committee, and other new areas that would require oversight. So in that vein, Nandipa has taken the 2 provisional parliamentary programs for the NCOP and the National Assembly. And if you overlay those 2, the following dates were identified. Starting then, the first possibility for a meeting is on the 9th of May. And here we propose a meeting on the SANDF's deployment as part of MONUSCO. As members are aware, or might be aware, that deployment term that the president previously signed will come to an end soon. So there should be, by the beginning of the next term, there should be a new letter for South Africa's participation in MONUSCO. Either way, it will be a positive to get a briefing on this, and in the same vein, a briefing on the withdrawal process that this committee has already requested from the minister. So a proper briefing on that would be we believe would be a good start to the next term. And then also in that meeting, considering the committee's standing operating procedures. We're almost done with the draft based on the legal opinions. This will be distributed then to members for consideration and further discussion, so that there's a standard in place for this committee to deal with deployment letters from the president. So that's our proposal for the first meeting, starting around issues of deployment. Then with Denel officially moving to this the oversight purview of this of 2 defense committees at Parliament, we propose on the 16th of May an introductory briefing by Denel. I know we have visited Denel Landward Systems, but it is a much more complex SOE than just Landward Systems and PMP that we visited. So perhaps a comprehensive introductory overview of Denel, and specifically how it supports the SANDF, we believe could be a valuable engagement. Next, a briefing by Armscor on the status of SA Air Force and FSA Navy maintenance and acquisition contracts. This matter came up continuously during the oversight visits, as members may recall, and we propose that a comprehensive briefing on that be held. Then on the 30th of May, we suggest based on the engagement that this committee had with a number of academics last term, we propose a meeting with the Secretary for Defense on their view on the status of the and an overview of the 1996 White Paper on Defense and its continued relevance. And then this committee also requested the department to brief them on the journey to greatness. So that perhaps those two policy recommendations together. On the 6th of June, we propose a short visit on the day in the morning. It's in the Cape Town area, so in the morning we propose a short visit to the Rheinmetall Denel Munitions main plant in Somerset West, and then on the way back a stop off at Mulcore, which is situated at the airport. Both of these have been on the radar of members, and members have shown interest in visiting these two facilities. So we propose visits to these on the 6th of June, if we manage to arrange that, and if members agree. On the 13th of June, linked to the previous issue, update by Arms Corps on the spare parts procurement. There's been a lot said in recent weeks about aircraft maintenance and aircraft availability. A big part of that, also from the work of the 6th Parliament, is around spare parts procurement. So it could be valuable for both Arms Corps as well as Defence Material Division to provide us with an update on the processes of spare parts procurement, as I believe this would be very valuable for members to understand, and perhaps to gain a better understanding of why there are such problems with this processes. And lastly, directly related to last week's meeting, we propose a briefing by the SIU and the Hawks on investigations into the ramp project at One Military Hospital, and linked to that, an update by the department on plans to refurbish the hospital. This is then concluded with what we propose. Members, again, a joint oversight visit by the two defense committees to the operational areas this time, the border deployments in Beitbridge in the north of the country, and then also, since we are in Limpopo, a visit to Air Force Base Mikado, which houses the Gripen fighter fleet of the SA Air Force. So it could be a very valuable visit for members. Just on this last, in concluding, co-chairs and members, just to note that these are provisional dates that we're working on. Parliament's broader program is subject to change, and there must be approval for specifically for oversight visit dates. But this is the proposed program that we want to put forth to you. Specifically, the main important thing is your input and ultimate agreement to the content, and we can shift that around on the dates should there be any changes. Chair, thank you. Back to you, and we're happy to make any changes or to the program should members wish. Thank you.
Thank you. I will note the hands. I see Honorable Hatting, Honorable Niehaus. For now, please, Honorable Hatting, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Just two issues, more observations than actually amending this. Chair, I think the Department of Defense and others have actually been exploiting a situation in our committee system, in that is that invariably we do not get time for them to respond to all our questions and also our requests for reports. So I would like us, when considering this, and we cannot actually engage with the SANDF when there are still very crucial outstanding issues that they have not responded to as requested within the 7-day period. I would like for us to have at every meeting an item, outstanding responses and reports, standard, and that everything gets listed there. Otherwise, if it's not done, it just gets lost. And it's important for us to continue and not to repeat the same questions that were not responded to in the past. That's the first issue. Chair, then the second issue, and when I, from my years of experience in doing oversight, when I see oversight, I actually get scared because of what is understood by some of people with the transport of parliamentarians. Blue lights, speed transgressions, stop street transgressions, solid line crossings. Please, I want to put up front here, the oversight is again on the agenda, but we have to abide by traffic laws in this country, and there's nothing that makes us different on the road than any other person traveling on that road. And please, this is very important. If this cannot be accommodated, then we should tell the committees up front. We will not abide by traffic rules on this trip, and that you have to, if you want to be safe, use your own transport. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Niehaus.
Chair, I want to second the proposal or the request by the Honorable Hutton that all our questions that have been asked, and we usually have the 7-day limit, must be answered. For instance, on this particular program, there's the matter of One Mole Hospital. During our visit to that disaster site that it is at the moment, we requested at the end for within 7 days to get a full report of how the whole project started, unfolded, and where it is now, and also the implications that it had on the lives of soldiers. So we need that report before we go to a further engagement with the SANDF on One Military Hospital. We need those responses. Overall, Chair, this is a good program. I think we should commend those who drafted this program, and I would like to move that we adopt this program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Niehaus. Honorable Gotzel.
Good morning, Chair. I agree with Honorable Hutton and also mainly with Honorable Niehaus. I just wanted to add one thing, or perhaps request one thing, and this is that the engagement with the SIU regarding the One Military Hospital investigation be moved up in the program. I think that's a very important item, and I think the sooner we know what's going on there, the better. I think the first engagement for the new term is important, so perhaps not first, but if the SIU could move second or third, that would, in my view, be one of the main priorities for us for next term.
Thank you, Honorable Gotzel. Honorable Noor.
Thank you, Chair. I think I also align myself with the initial suggestion by Honorable Hutton, as supported by other two members. Just by adding to say, on the issues that are outstanding before the committee meeting, they should first be circulated, and then we can agree that those are the things that were outstanding before the agenda is finalized. I think that is important because it will eliminate only to discuss things forever in a meeting. And secondly, Chair, I don't know whether this issue of the journey to greatness is it become now an official? Indeed, it was mentioned twice by different authorities, different meetings that we had with them. Whether, as far as I'm concerned, should indeed come first as we start the term, as it may possibly answer some of the questions or clarify the vision of the defense leadership in terms of all the challenges that has been raised. It may perhaps respond to some of the things where we can also perhaps make inputs, rather than it should go later while we have already engaged with continuously raising points of concern, and they also raising their own challenges, but while at the same time they are working on a document which supposedly it is intended to come out as a turnaround kind of strategy. And then lastly, Chair, I think around on the hospital, as we have just said, I think it should be outlined. It shouldn't just be a briefing as it is appearing there. It should be outlined what information are we looking for, because so many things were said during the meeting. As of course, some of us, we did not have the background or the information that the portfolio committee has about the project itself, so that they can be forwarded with what exactly are we expecting them as they come in to brief us on the aspects that will be meaningful to make sure that we'll be satisfied with the information. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, colleagues. I think just to make a few remarks myself, I want to support the view that the RAM briefing be moved to the 16th, given its urgency. It deals with matters of life and death, the service conditions for our soldiers in particular. I can see the VIPs and other people, but just where our soldiers receive medical care, I think, and given the situation we saw the one military hospital in, it's necessary that we should move it up to the 16th. We can take the briefing on Dinel to the slot of the, that is to the slot in June, which was set aside for one mil hospital. Secondly, I don't know if the discussion on the discussion on sorry, I'm trying to look at my program here on the 96 white paper on the 30th of May. I don't know, because in our meeting, we had agreed that our engagement with the defense experts needed to take place again for longer, because we felt we hadn't had enough time to engage. I don't know whether the time we have until 1 will be sufficient. But the two issues which are outlined there are important. I just wonder whether we shouldn't try to find another time for a continuation of that engagement with the experts. But I suppose we can assess after the 30th of May. But we appreciate the support for the proposed program, colleagues. And I think we take your proposals that the outstanding matters. So how I suggest we deal with outstanding matters is that during the constituency period, we're going to lift them out with the secretariat and resend them to the department as a reminder of the issues that they have not responded to. And then we will insert them, we will include them in our meetings on a regular basis, so that all the issues which are still outstanding are dealt with. But we cannot keep reminding the department of the importance of responding to issues that the committee has raised, because it is our right to receive timeous answers I like the point that the Deputy Minister, who is the Deputy Chair of the NCACC, kept saying, we are creatures of legislation. And therefore, the obligation from the department and its entities to respond to our questions should also be treated in similar manner. So we are going to do as honorable members suggest, and so I think this means that with these amendments, the program of the committee is adopted. If there are other issues that arise in the course of the term, we will deal with them when we meet in committee meetings. Thank you very much. The next item.
Sorry, Chair. For record purpose, Chair, we need a seconder. Mr. Niehaus. Yes, we need a seconder.
Can we have
I will do that. I will second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Hatton. Can we then move to the next item on our program? I don't see the program on the screen.
The last item is the minutes, Chair.
The minutes, indeed. Can we go to the minutes? We will take the minutes as read. So I want to know if there are any corrections that any member would like to suggest. In the absence of corrections suggested by members, can we have a mover for the adoption of the minutes?
I will move so, Chair.
Honorable Hatton moves. Do we have a seconder?
I second, Chair.
Honorable Niehaus seconds. I must say, colleagues, that I have previously commended the Secretariat for the professional manner in which they take the minutes and compile them for us. We really appreciate it. Honorable members, this brings us to the end of our program. I see there are two hands that have suddenly arisen, or one. Honorable Niehaus? Oh, two.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is a matter of notice. I'm deeply disturbed by the manner in which the Honorable Pala chaired this meeting that we had today. He acted outside his mandate. He did not follow the rules of the National Assembly nor the rules of the NCOP. And I give herewith notice that I will launch the necessary complaint against the Honorable Pala and the manner in which he chaired this meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Noor?
I think I'm raising on the same point. For me, rather than the approach of Honorable Niehaus, I think we are matured as adults in this committee. We should rather put an item of for the next meeting on the decorum of the meeting. I feel as an individual and a member of the committee that my integrity is being consistently attacked and under the misguise of the rules of the committee. And hence I'm saying it should be placed on the agenda next time so that we can engage with it and discuss it. It includes exactly what Honorable Niehaus is saying. It emanates from that point. I think I've come to a stage where I feel perhaps there's an agenda by some members of the committee that when I speak nonsense, and they can just interject in what I'm talking under the guise of the rules of the committee. But I want us to discuss it openly and maturely as others, because it affects the decorum of this committee. It started on TV, and now it is continuing. It happened again during the oversight. I think it has come to a stage where we need to look deeper into it before it makes a mockery out of this committee. That's my plea.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Hattie.
Chair, indeed, I think what has happened today and what has happened in previous meetings and also what has happened at Tabatswani is really embarrassing. We cannot have such a situation in public where orders and decisions and rulings of the chairperson is simply ignored. When the chairperson, but I don't want to debate it here. I think we need that discussion, and I would also like to compliment Honorable Paula for, in very difficult situation, very embarrassing situation, which reflects negatively on this committee and on Parliament as an institution, that it tried to rescue the situation. We cannot continue in this fashion if there are not basic rules being used and applied by everyone. Then we are certainly doing our Parliament a disfavor, and we are discrediting ourselves and our committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Hatting. Honorable Njingila.
No, Chair, I think I'm also echoing the same sentiments by other members that there ought to be a mechanism of how we engage one another, including those that we are conducting self-oversight on. And also, Chair, if we may have acted another way, an item that is proposed is indeed seconded by myself, so that we can be able to deal with some of the behavior that we have experienced when we engage reports and we engage people that are responsible for those reports. And some of the committee members will then respond on behalf of people that are here to account for on us. Then the problem, because we don't know where are you part of the committee, or are you part of the executive, or part of the entities? Don't respond to us. Engage the report and know your standpoint as to, are you a member of the portfolio committee, or are you in the executive, or you are part of the subsidiaries that are accounting to us as a committee. But yeah, indeed, we do need such, so that we can be able to clarify our roles and functions and understanding of how far we can go in exercising our oversight responsibilities. Thank you.
Honorable Niehaus, you want to have a second bite?
It will be very quick, Chair. I agree that we as a committee should discuss it, but that does not rule out the formal complaint that I will bring against the Honorable Pala, which I definitely will. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, I want to suggest and to appeal to you, Honorable Niehaus, without curtailing your rights, that we have a discussion as the committee, because we are unfortunately stuck with one another for the duration of the next 5 years, unless our respective parties through ATC remove us, or one of us, or some of us from the committee. That we should have a discussion on meeting procedures, the decorum of the committees, because I know all of us serve in different committees other than this one. And those committees do not have regular instances such as ours does, where they degenerate into a shouting match in front of the public. And so my request is that prior to escalating this issue, and I appeal to you, Honorable Niehaus, in particular, prior to escalating the matter, let us discuss it in-house and find one another on how we are going to conduct ourselves, conduct the meetings going forward, so that the committee is able to exercise its responsibilities and yet be able to treat one another with respect as we move forward.
Thank you, Chair. I will accept your guidance, but I also reserve my rights subsequently. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Chairperson, sorry.
Yes.
Just with regards to your appeal, that we should first discuss it in committee. I must here confess that I have already submitted a complaint relating to this issue. I just want to say that I respect your request, but you are a bit after the fact with your appeal. I've already submitted a complaint, and I do not wish to withdraw that one. Otherwise, I would have refrained. Thanks.
I understand that you've submitted your complaint in committee.
No, I've submitted my complaint to the whip of this committee.
Yes, so it's still in committee. So I think it's within the parameters of what we are dealing with. So we will discuss the matter. Honorable Nwe, I see your hand is still up. Is it new or legacy? It's okay. So
it was legacy. Sorry, Chair.
Thank you. So we will discuss the matter in-house, in committee, sorry. And then I admit that members reserve their rights, and I appreciate your conceding to us having a discussion. So we will discuss with the Secretariat at what point, how do we put the issue to the committee program, given that we've just adopted the program. But thank you very much, honorable members. I would like to wish you all a successful, a peaceful, and restful constituency period, and a blessed Easter to all of you, until we meet in May, healthy and still safe. Thank you, honorable members. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable Pala.